as they move home to a tranquil, magical island with a population of just 60.
Even for Scots, this is such a different place. You know, the timelessness is an easy word to fling about, but you can't feel it here.
I looked out at sea, and these whales, they turned round and they came up the coast where we were. I mean, you just can't buy that, you know, that was magical.
The ocean-lashed island of Papa Westray in the Orkneys is one of Britain's most northerly landscapes. Lying on the same latitude as Alaska, its rugged 6 square miles is home to just 60 people. Papa Westray bursts into life when the ferry comes, bringing everything from cars, JCBs and washing machines to the occasional new settler. Any newcomer here would be under the watchful eye of Jim Rendell, the island's docker, publican, lay preacher and postie.
How often does the boat come?
Twice a week.
Twice a week?
Yeah. Normally on Tuesdays and Fridays.
Jim's seen all the comings and goings, from people arriving here in search of a new life, to those leaving a beloved island for the last time. Like most people here, Jim is used to making do.
Don't film this one.
What? This?
This, no.
Why not?
Because it's beyond its sale-by date.
All of the Orkney Islands are formed of old red sandstone. For millennia, Papa Westray's rocky outcrops have been a natural haven each spring for gulls, kittiwakes and guillemots to breed. But the Orkneys are fertile too. The eroded sandstone becomes good grazing land. It's also a perfect building material. Neolithic families fished and farmed here 5,000 years ago. Their dry stone-walled home at the Nap of Hower is an incredible survival. Older than Stonehenge, complete with stone-boxed beds and dresser. When the Vikings settled Papa Westray, they also became farmers here. Today the island is a magnet for a new generation of settlers, city people seeking a new way of life. Business entrepreneur Phil Odell and his wife Jemima have come here to start a very modern venture.
What's happening here?
Good question. We're constructing our data center. So we're building this high-tech hotel for our servers so that we can host websites for people all over the country. That's what we're trying to do anyway. This is where it all happens. So these guys are really the workhorses. They're Macintosh computers, which we use because, like the US Army, we don't like people coming to hack our computers, and these computers are hack-proof. My wife and I came here on a second honeymoon, and we just fell in love with the place. And it was love at first sight. And I had set up this business explicitly to be mobile, so it was really a dream come true.
What was it about the place that you fell in love with?
Firstly, it's remote, it's rugged, it's slightly savage. The people here are absolutely wonderful. There's something extremely attractive about living in a community where you're only 60 in total. So my son, who was born 10 days ago, is 1.5% of the population almost. And it's just a very enjoyable place to be.
It's great.
Are you enjoying it then?
Yes, yeah, really just no regrets about coming up here at all. I'd stay forever.
Jan and Nick Crocker gave up their successful care home business in Ipswich to come up here and give their young family a more self-sufficient way of life. They've had a few shocks along the way, but so far have weathered the storm.
Good ride back from school, was it? Yeah. Is that your pin-up?
About a month and a half after we'd been here, and we bought a caravan up with us, which we bought in Ipswich, a really old-fashioned caravan, which is very, very heavy. And Jan came through the back and said, the caravan's moving. Living in the town, I'd never experienced that sort of thing before, and I sort of looked outside and the caravan was actually moving into open space and getting ready to become a boat. So it would have just blown into the, into the sea. I mean, it was... As to becoming acclimatised, I think that's due in about 2007. I should become acclimatised. The idea was to come up here and be self-sufficient. Well, we're nowhere near that yet, but we
had a good start, didn't we?
Yeah.
And then I fell pregnant with the twins, and that kind of all collapsed, didn't it? So we've got to build it all up again now.
Yeah. You don't need a lot of money. That's the good thing about living here. You're not tempted by the clothes shops or any shops. We've only got one. We've only got one shop, and that has the sort of basic requirements for life, doesn't it? Yeah. So you don't need the money when you live somewhere here.
The island needs to keep its new families. Over the last 150 years, it suffered a slow and seemingly irreversible decline. The landscape is dotted with ruined and abandoned cottages, once crofts supporting families of 12 or more, in servitude to the island's lairds, the Trail family of Holland Farm. Older islanders like John Rendell remember the stories of oppression well.
The lairds, they wanted to work as slaves. If they had any big job at Holland, he put out a man in the morning on horseback and rounded everybody up, come and work at Holland. Oh, the people just hated them.
Did you mix well with the new people?
Yes. Yeah. We've been very, very lucky. But just, it's unbelievable how nice people we have. Yeah. It's the community spirit. It's wonderful.
But community spirit alone is not enough. For Orcadians and incomers alike, life is hard here. Many families have gone elsewhere for a more comfortable life. Over the last 14 years, the island's health visitor, Fiona McNabb, has watched the population steadily dwindle. These days, she keeps an eye on the older folk, who she regards as friends as much as patients. Today, she's visiting Maggie Harkus at her croft in Midhouse. She's lived on the island all her life.
Hi, Maggie. It is indeed.
That's so.
It was Bonnie earlier on.
It was. Bonnie and bright.
Yeah.
Telling you yesterday that you're getting brighter this week.
Aye.
Is this a traditional Orkney bed here?
Oh, yes, that's a box bed. So that's where I still sleep.
Looks very comfortable, maybe.
It's grand in the winter time. Maybe gets too heat sometimes in the summer, but I just would do with less blankets. For the winter time, it's awfully grand and cosy.
Do you still farm?
I know much, no. It's either folk if I do, it's just their daddies maybe. But I don't do any farming. Time to be retired, I'm nearly 80.
Good looking on it.
Hey?
You're looking good on it.
People seem to live a long time on this island.
I think
Maggie,
so.
what's the secret?
I don't know what's the secret, I'm sure. Quiet life and just working hard.
Just before Christmas 2 years ago, the population had dropped to 52, which was a decidedly unhealthy number, and it was just not viable. And it was shortly after that that the first of the the new incomers can. Some of the old houses that, you know, I never knew being inhabited, they're being done up and there's lights for the first time in 30 odd years in some cases, which is nice to see.
This barn doesn't look like it yet, but it is actually going to be a high-tech data center. We're going to turn this first building here into the room where the computers go, the server room. The barn at the rear is going to be the office where my staff sit and take calls from customers and monitor all the systems. And then I'm going to put a mezzanine level on top of the server room, effectively, with a window looking out over the fantastic view over Westray. Wow. So this really is an old agricultural building, and it'll be transformed. Did have a slight wobble when we first came up here. We thought that it was maybe we'd bitten off more than we could chew, but the charm of the place is really magical. You need to imagine yourself being on the first floor and on a beautiful day looking out to Westray.
One of Phil's building workers is writer and broadcaster Jim Hewitson. He raised his family here, then left for the city life. Now he's returned to refresh his soul.
So what do you think of the project, Jim? Very ambitious, and the sort of imaginative thing that, you know, for the future of the island obviously is crucial. That tempered with just an element of caution, you know, because we've seen some wonderful ideas in the past, and you know, it's got to be tempered with realism, and I think Phil seems a man with his head screwed on the right way. I think he'll get. If he caws canny in the old Scots phrase, you know, if he just caws canny and gets through the work, the thing should be a success. I would hope it will be. And certainly with the possibility of jobs here, it's such an important thing. That
Jobs on Pape are few and far between, and most centre around the community's cooperative. Jim runs the cupboard, the bar, which opens on Saturday nights to refuel the residents.
Doesn't hurt an awful lot, but enough to make everybody drunk.
Enough to make everybody drunk?
Yeah, I would think so.
And so the hotel is a hostel as well, is it?
Yeah. It's hostel and guest house and everything all rolled into one with the co-op and everything in it.
It's quite unusual, isn't it?
It is, especially in Orkney. To find a little hotel with a bar shoved in a cupboard the size of an iron cupboard, so.
There's not many Sunday services that can boast an attendance of half the population. Perhaps it's a chance for islanders old and new to come together and affirm their sense of community here.
Yes,
and Benji was 1 week.
That's right.
Yeah. Celebrating Maggie's and Benjamin's.
So the oldest and the youngest are here again.
That's right.
I wouldn't get in it. I didn't have the wheel to hold on to. And it helps me. Need a help. go up the road we used to come this way and then I go up the other way. So.